Carla Knits podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, sometimes crocheting, but always about all of the yarny goodness that I love. I am so thankful that you are joining me today. A big hello to all returning and returning viewers and subscribers. And if you're new, thank you so much for stopping by. Today is Saturday, July 22nd, and I'm coming to you from my home in Nebraska. It's been about almost 3 weeks since my last podcast, so I've had a little bit of a break, so I feel maybe a little rusty, but we're gonna just go with it today. Other places you can find me besides YouTube here, Instagram and Ravelry as cbcraftygirl, and those places will be linked in the show notes down below. And on Ravelry, we do have a podcast group for Carla Knits, and we currently have 3 make-alongs going on. 2 are for the entirety of this year, so I'm just going to highlight each of these make-alongs briefly. So we have a blanket make-along for the entirety of 2023, and that is to work on your scrappy blankets or blankets that you've been working on for a while, brand new blankets, whatever you would like. So there is a general thread over on Ravelry for that. And just a couple that I want to highlight today. One is the Nature's Walk blanket. This is a crochet blanket by Handmade Studio 11, and that is Wendy. And then the other is also a crochet blanket. It's the Lark Throw, and this is by Ravelry user Textile Grad, who is Luann. And Luann, it looks like you have posted several times in the blanket make-along, so you are doing great making blankets this year. That's just incredible. Much better than I am doing, but that's okay. So that is our blanket make-along. And then we have a Love Your Stash make-along. So using your stash and details about participating in the stash make-along also found down below. So a couple of finishes that I wanted to highlight were this cute pair of watermelon socks by Ravelry user MW Brazil, and that's Jean. And I just thought those watermelon socks were so sweet. And then this pretty pair of pink socks by VShaw7, that's Vicky. And I know that this was a test knit that she did. So some really fun socks in that stash make-along. And probably lots of us are making our socks right now for summer sock camp. So socks are really fun, and they're especially fun in the summer when it's hot, just to have those small projects. So those are the 2 make-alongs that are going for the entirety of the year. And then we have a very short-term one, which is the Merry Makealong, which started on July 1st and goes through August 31st. And this is to make things for Christmas. So maybe to help us get started on our gift knitting, making, crocheting, or making something for ourselves for Christmas. Maybe a festive Christmas sweater or a pair of Christmas socks. So there is a chatter thread and a finished object thread over there. And we have a couple that I will highlight today. One is by Ravelry user iNowHour, and it's a crochet scarf, and that's Kim. And then the other is by Ash M Co, and it's Ashley. And this is a pair of Christmas socks for her. So some beautiful projects over there. And I will be sharing some of my works or some projects that I'm working on for Christmas this year. So it always feels good to get a head start before those holidays roll around. So, all right. I think that's enough of the admin stuff. So we're going to get into the knitting, which is probably the reason you are here. So for today, I have one finished object, and it is a pair of socks. So these are just vanilla socks. So when I say vanilla, it's just, you know, plain stockinette, no pattern to it. But the yarn really shines in this. And this yarn is by Teeny Button Studio in the Cosmo Girl colorway, which was part of her Legally Blonde collection. This yarn actually does have some stellina, some sparkle in it, although I'm not sure you would be able to see that. But this pair of socks was super fun to knit up, and the yarn was really soft and pleasant to work with. And I did finish these while on vacation, which I'll talk about a little later in the chatter part. But yeah, I really like these. These are actually for me, the pink. If you know me, you know I love pink. So yeah, these are really fun. So I'm going to look forward to wearing those when the weather turns a little cooler. I was thinking it would be fun to wear those, you know, to the Barbie movie because it's so pink, but it's going to be in the high 90s and 100s this week, so I'm not sure that wool socks would be the best. But it would be really fun Barbie socks. So these are my third pair of finished socks for summer sock camp for the summer. And summer sock camp is a sock knit along hosted by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. So everybody's just enjoying making socks. So that is my one finished object, a finished pair of socks. Which brings us into works in progress. And I have several to share with you today. All right, so I actually have, I should have said this, works in progress, but I actually have two half objects. So those are going to be socks. So the first is a Christmas gift that I am making for my daughter-in-law, Kelsey. And I do have the first sock done. Maybe I'll put it on the blocker. This self-striping yarn I absolutely love, and it is by Night Owl Fibers, part of her Friends collection. We were on a break, and then I had a contrasting mini, which I don't remember where that was from, but I think it turned out really good with that. So I have the first one done. So there was a lot of time knitting on vacation, whether it be in the car or sitting around visiting. So I was really happy to get this one done. And each time I started a project or finished a Christmas project, or I haven't finished a Christmas project, but just, I guess I finished half, you know, it's just, it feels good just to know that I'm working towards those Christmas gifts. So that is the first sock, and I just cast on the second sock last night, which I've had that sock done for a while, but just didn't cast on the second one yet, but just 5 or 6 rounds into the cuff. So I hope to make more progress on this. I have 2 sock projects for Christmas gifts that I would like to get done before the end of August. That would be great, just to have a few gifts done. I don't think anything else to say about that. My next half object, I'm going to put that on the blocker, or this on the blocker too. This is actually a Christmas sock for my husband. So I for the past several years, I have gifted him a pair of socks in his stocking. So this yarn is Zitron Trekking XL. It's definitely a very sturdy wool yarn. It's a wool nylon or polyamide blend. Not as nice to work with. It's definitely a little coarse. So I think the first part of the sock, you know, I was really feeling some fatigue in my hands, but then as it went on, I just got used to the feel of this yarn and the movement on the needle. So I really liked it. I wasn't sure if it's kind of self-patterning, striping a little bit, but I think this color is really nice. And you know, he's got a couple shirts in his closet that I know this sock will go well with. So I think this is a really nice color for him. So one sock done for Jeff. And it was so funny. I was working on this in the car when we were traveling, and he's like, "What are you working on?" And I'm just like, "Oh, a sock." I didn't expect him to ask that, but I don't think he'll remember that. But I am going to tell him at Christmas time that I was knitting it on our trip. So I do not have the second one cast on, but I definitely need to do that. Yeah, definitely need to get that second sock going. Okay, so those are my two half objects. Then, so I have two sock projects there. Those are Christmas presents. And then I have a third sock that I have started. And this was actually a birthday cast on. I cast it on the day before. But I received a lovely package from my birthday buddy, Candy, my birthday knitting buddy, Candy, and we actually share the same birthday in July. And she sent me this beautiful yarn. This is a Knit Picks hand-painted fingering stroll fingering, and it's in the blue Summer Blooms tonal. And I just think that is so pretty. And then I paired it with, I have had this yarn from Knit Picks in my stash for a while. This is a Hawthorn fingering in Graffiti Speckle. So it's got speckles of black, kind of that dark pink and some yellow, which I thought would be fun for a cuff. This is what I have so far. It looks really skinny. This is a ribbed texture with some twisted stitches. This pattern is by, let me see if I have this right. This is the Sweater Weather collection by Carly Perrins. I think I have that right. So Sweater Weather sock collection, cuff down. So her collections are really interesting in that she has cuff down and she has toe up, which is really great because, you know, we all knit socks in our own way and we have our preferences. So I'm definitely a cuff down person. This Sweater Weather collection has 3 patterns in it, and this was gifted to me by Lynn. So thank you, Lynn, for this pattern or this set of sock patterns. This is the Harvest sock in that collection. I'm just going to stretch it out a little bit so hopefully you can see those cables. So I did the cuff in that speckled colorway, and then I'm going to do the rest of the sock and then in the pink colorway, and then I'll probably do the toe in that speckled colorway. But these cables are twisted stitches, but I think it's the same thing as cabling without a cable needle, at least from what I remember. So really, really pretty texture. Really enjoying this yarn. So Candy, thank you so much for this beautiful yarn. I absolutely love it. And this is a really easy 4-row repeat. I don't need to look at the pattern anymore. So I'm really, really enjoying this textured sock. So that is the first of that. So I currently have 3 sock projects. So I'm going to limit myself to 3 sock projects. That is plenty. That is plenty. All right. Some more works in progress. I mentioned last time that I wanted to get started on a scarf for my husband's uncle. He came out for my son's wedding last fall, and he said, "I'd really like a cable scarf to go along with the hat you made me years ago." And so I had knit him, it's the Antler Toque by Tin Can Knits, in a really beautiful blue yarn, and he really enjoyed that. So he said that to me last year, "I'd really like a cable scarf," but my son's wedding was mid-November, and I knew I wasn't going to have time to make a whole scarf before Christmas. So I put that in the hopper for this year. So I asked on the last episode if anybody had a good recommendation for a cable scarf pattern for worsted weight yarn, and a couple of viewers did write, and so I thank you for that. It was Grace and Patsy who had the same recommendation for the Irish hiking scarf. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. It looks like many people have made this pattern, and I have a good bit done on this. So this was a great project to be working on vacation. There's only one row, 8-round repeat, one row of cabling, but I just think this is turning out so nice. Those big cables. The yarn that I am using is, let's see, Barocco Vintage. I don't have colorway name, but it's color 5146. And this is what I have left of the first skein of yarn. So I have 2 more, so I know I'm going to have plenty for a really good length of scarf. So really happy with this progress. I love this color blue, and his uncle has blue eyes, and and his hat was blue, so I think this is going to go really nice. So it seems to be working out pretty fast. I use the stitch marker to notate each set of 8, and I move it up after each set of 8 rounds, or rows, I should say. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that. It's a really laid back project, but it's fun, you know, in contrast to the fingering weight yarn, to do this, you know, worsted weight scarf with a cable needle. That's been really enjoyable, and it was easy enough that I could do that while talking to company or talking to family and riding in the car. So really excited about that project. All right, just a couple more. This is going faster than I thought. I have a new cast on, which I cast on this week. I was really debating about whether to start on like some fall knitting plans, so like fall garments. I have a couple cardigans that I'm interested in making. I definitely have a sweater, a pullover colorwork sweater that I'm interested in making, but the weather is quite humid and warm here, and it just did not seem, it's like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for one of those sweaters yet. So I decided to cast on another summer tee, and this is called Luminous Summer. Let's see who this is by. Mini Me Knit Design, and I bought this yarn last year. This is Juniper Moon Farm Zoe, or Zooey. It's a 60% cotton, 40% linen, classified as a DK weight yarn, and I have, I think, 5 skeins of this. So this is just a really pretty basic tee, and it doesn't look like too much yet, and my stitches are falling off here, so I'm gonna put those back on. Yep, I'm gonna put those back on. So I cast on, I have the little eyelet row there. You know, this yarn being linen, and it's definitely got thicker spots and thinner spots, so the stitches aren't as uniform. Gosh, I keep losing stitches. Aren't as uniform as, you know, other yarns that I've used before. So the eyelets are up here where my fingers are, but then there are also increases in here, which tends to look a little bit like eyelets too. I'm hoping with blocking that will help some of that. I just decided I would like another, you know, summer fiber in my wardrobe. So, you know, the last tee that I made was the Kaisa tee, but it's still with a merino wool. You know, it's fingering weight and it is very lightweight, but you know, it's still merino wool and tends to be a little warm. With the cotton and linen, I'm hoping this will just be, you know, a nice, really cool fabric. The one thing that is interesting about this pattern, it does have short rows, but they're not up by the neck. They're after a while. So I know I have to do so many inches and then there will be some short rows. And they're different short rows. They're short rows using yarn overs. So I've never done that before, but there are some video tutorials. And Brittany, I know you made this sweater and yours turned out beautiful. And I was looking at your project notes, so that was helpful to notate that you talked about an Andrea Mowry video showing how to do that type of short row. So I definitely will be rewatching hers again to follow along with those short rows once I get to it. But that's going to be like down towards, you know, upper back. So it's just, I don't know, to me that's a different place to put short rows. But I'm going to trust the pattern and we'll see how it turns out. But the color, I should say the color is Sloop, S-L-O-O-P. So it's really, you know, really pretty color. I love this. And I think it would look really good like over a black tank, or I actually have a black sleeveless dress that I think this is going to look really nice over. I was kind of worried that this yarn was going to be rough on my hands because I have heard people say that, but I'm not finding it too difficult to work with or not fatiguing on the hands. I'm more concerned about the stitches, and I hope that with blocking that they'll relax and look a little nicer. So if you have worked with that yarn or this yarn, Juniper Moon Farm Zoe, let me know your thoughts on this yarn. Whether it blocks nice, hard to work with, do you like the finished fabric? Does it keep you cool? I would love to hear those things. All right, so I have one more work in progress to share with you. So I didn't show it on the last podcast, but you have seen it before. This is Carla's garden shawl. This is a pattern by Darcy of Chit Chat Knits. I can't really stretch it out too much on the needles because it's going to fall off. I actually I did not have a longer cord in the specified size, so I did order that. But last time I was here, and so I have made all of this progress, and I guess technically the shawl goes this way, but again, it's really hard to stretch out. So that is some really decent progress on that. I started that when I came back from vacation, and I've just been working on it a few days this week, and it is just really, I'm finding it to be very relaxing and enjoyable. You know, just something different besides the stockinette of the socks, and now the stockinette of the summer tee. You know, this has beautiful textured stitches, including that fun flower stitch in there, which is just so fun. So this is Carla's Garden Shawl by Darcy of Chit Chat Knits. The yarns that I am using, so this color is called, let me see, the yarn is by Skein Cocaine. This is Seashells. This is Coastline, and then this is still attached. This is Starfish. So I'm really enjoying working on this shawl. She has so many shawl patterns and cowl patterns. Darcy, I really want to make that self-striping one, but I'm like, you gotta finish this before you put something else on the needles. So really enjoying that beautiful project. So thank you again, Darcy, for such a lovely shawl pattern. All right, this has gone much faster than I thought it would. So just going to do a little bit of chatter. So my last podcast I put up on July 3rd, and I had not shared this, but I had surgery 2 days later on Wednesday, July 5th. If you've been with me for a while, you know I get quite a few sinus infections. So in January, following several weeks of being sick, I made an appointment to see an ENT, and I didn't see him till February or March. It was really hard to get an appointment. Excuse me. And then, after scans and everything, he determined that I had a deviated septum. One of my sinus cavities was closed, and then there was something else. So I was, I opted to have the surgery. Sorry. They didn't call to schedule the surgery until close to the end of May, and they scheduled it for July 5th, which felt like a very long time to wait. And of course, we were getting ready to go on vacation too. We left for vacation on the 9th. So it wasn't ideal timing. And Jenna said, why are you scheduling your surgery? And I just felt like, the whole process has taken so long. I wanted to get the surgery. Otherwise, I might have had to go several more months. So I had the surgery done. They fixed 3 different things in there, and they put stents up my nose. Maybe this is too much for you guys, and sent me home. So a few days later, we left on vacation. That part was definitely hard, being on vacation when I didn't feel 100% great. My nose was hurting. I was very congested. I'm still somewhat congested, but definitely feeling much better than I did a couple weeks ago. So had that surgery, and then we went on vacation. We went up to Biwabik, Minnesota. I figured out how to say that word. I wasn't exactly sure, but Biwabik, Minnesota. Jeff's aunt, Gail, had rented a house by a lake for us, herself, and then Jeff's brother and family who live in Canada. And so we all met and stayed there for a week. It was a lovely house with great sleeping accommodations for everybody, kitchen, living area, dining table, game area in the basement, outside areas, decks, and right by the lake. So it was one of the best vacations, that I have enjoyed ever. The temperatures that week were in the low to mid 70s, and it was just starting to get warm, like our very last day, but it was very low humidity while we were there, and I was ready to move. For me, that feeling that good in the summertime with the temperature, it was just beautiful. The lake was so quiet, but big lake surrounded by trees. We enjoyed jumping in the lake early in the morning when it was still like 58, 60 degrees, outside, and we'd jump in the lake, and that was really fun. We played lots of games together. We went and visited Split Rock Lighthouse. So it was just a great time spent with family. While I was there, I celebrated my birthday. So they made me a birthday breakfast, and then we went out to a nice dinner that evening. So it was fun celebrating my birthday with some family. And thank you to those of you who sent your birthday wishes along, and to my birthday buddy Candy. I'm going to share this. She sent this fun tumbler with Carla knits on there, which I just thought was so sweet. That was with the pink yarn, and then she sent a cute little notions tin with some goodies inside. I was gifted a couple patterns by different friends, so thank you to those of you for those beautiful patterns that you gave me. Yeah, it was a very special day, so thank you to those of you who wished me a happy birthday. That was really sweet. Then we came back and we've just been playing catch up this week, and the summer is definitely dwindling, and Jenna will be going off to college in like 3 weeks. So I don't know if this mama is ready for that, but I just have to keep telling myself, you know, she's only going to be a half hour away. So that's all good. That's all good. It's just, yeah, it's just really, really different realizing that, you know, Jeff and I are entering a different phase now where we will be empty nesters. So I guess each phase of our life has it has blessings and challenges to it. So we'll try to embrace this new chapter of our life with Jenna going off to college. So I think that is all. Nope, there is one more thing I want to share with you. So while vacationing in Minnesota, I brought along my sand shore cardigan. This I knit last year. Oh, I cannot remember who it's by, but I will link it down below. This chilly mornings, chilly evenings, I wore this so much on vacation. It was the perfect sweater to have with me on vacation in the summer. Very comfortable. Was made in that Michael's creme cotton. So very, very nice. I just can't say enough good things about this cardigan. So I would definitely make this again. I would make another sweater using this yarn. It was just so enjoyable wearing a knit in the summertime, and it was perfect. I was so glad that I had packed this along. Yeah, this is one of the few warm things that I had with me. So thankful for that. So sand shore cardigan, great summer travel sweater to have along. All right. So with that, I think that brings us to an end with all of the projects and things that I have been up to. If you liked this episode, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel. I'd love to have you join in any of the make-alongs over on Ravelry. If you'd like to share what you're currently working on, I would love to hear about that. I hope you all are enjoying your summer. And those of you who have been affected by weather, I hope that you and your family have stayed safe. And those of you with heat, you know, stay cool. With that, I will say goodbye, and I hope to be back in a couple weeks. Take care.